what is happening. People! If I haven't done a fact or fiction video in a while, one thing I want to do is bust common myths in the fitness industry, or tell you guys that these things that people think aren't true are true. And a thing that's been coming up a lot, and people are starting to pay more attention to it, is by doing specific exercises that will target different parts of a specific muscle group in order to shape it and tone it in a way that will actually make their physique look that little bit better. So fact or fiction, can you change the shape of your skeletal muscles? And the answer to that is no. It is a myth, guys. Please do not fall for this, because I fell for it myself. Get all these bodybuilders saying, oh, you gotta do this exercise for the peak, the thickness, target the inner head, the outer head, the bloody 2/3 of this edge, and all that crap. You cannot grow your muscles in that type of way. So let me explain why. When you're born, you are all given a genetic blueprint, right? The way your muscles are shaped and such. And you cannot change that. Your genetics are your genetics. You get some people, for example, this just refers to the common biceps. You have some people that have a longer and flatter biceps. You get some people with shorter and more, basically biceps with a bigger peak and such. With like these different types of genetics people have, they claim that in order to get this type of characteristic, if that makes sense, to specific muscle groups, so for example give your bicep that peak, you have to do different isolation movements and all that crap in order to give your muscle that stimulus to make them shape in a different way. It's nonsense, guys, okay? Now when you put your muscles under tension, it's gonna of course try as hard as it can to push or pull this type of resistance you're using. And whether you're doing an exercise for mass or an exercise for toning and shaping the muscle, your body's going to react in the same way. Your body's going to try and grow. For example, a lot of people, like I said, they'll do exercises for building the muscle, the mass builders, and then exercises to shape and tone the muscles. Typical example for chest, people will do bench press for the mass and then chest flies for the toning and shaping. And yes, you can target your muscles. For example, when you do chest flies, you get greater contraction in like the outer portion of your chest, but that doesn't mean it's going to tone it. It's going to grow the exact same way as you would be doing on the bench press. Your body, the only way you can shape your muscles is by making them bigger. You cannot tone them, you cannot shape them. You cannot shape a muscle without growing it, okay? And there was this, I was looking, as I always do with these videos, I do a bit of research. There was this experiment, I guess you could say, I think it was in Brazil. They did this experiment where people would perform different bicep exercises and such, and see how it would happen. Like for example, they do a bicep exercise that would be a mass builder and a shape building, toning exercise that would do like the inner portion, outer portion and such. And when they were done with this experiment, guess what? When they took their measurements of the different parts of their biceps, they all grew equally, right? So what does that mean? You cannot shape or tone your muscles, guys, okay, without growing them. If you think you can shape a muscle without making it bigger, good luck. Focus on your big compound lifts. Let's put it this way, a lot of people think isolation movements, like I said, are better for shaping the muscles in comparison to compound movements, the mass builders. And it's false, guys. The only reason why you should be doing isolation movements is to add a bit of extra volume to certain muscle groups and such. If you apply progressive overload to a compound movement and an isolation movement, they aren't going to grow in different ways. Like, your muscles aren't going to add more mass because it was a compound movement, and then it will shape more and be more toned for an isolation movement. If you give it a stimulus to grow, it's just going to grow and become bigger and stronger. That's it. If you, for example, have bad chest genetics or bad bicep genetics, I'm sorry, genetics are genetics. Sucks. There's nothing you can do about it. That's life. The only way you can improve the shape of your muscles is by applying progressive overload and making them bigger and stronger. I've said it multiple times already, but genetics are genetics. Stick to compound movements. Progressive overload is progressive overload. If you give your muscles a stimulus to grow, no matter what exercise you're doing, it will just become bigger and stronger. Not more shape, more toned. It will only become more toned and get a better shape and such if it gets bigger. I said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this helped. And if you don't believe me, yeah, I'll put that study which I talked about and other articles and studies that I came across when doing my little bit of research. And yeah, thank you for watching, as always. Be sure to like the video if you haven't already. Wherever the subscribe button is. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Stay tuned for future content, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.